Man, so I forgot to do this because I really wasn't thinking about it. I was thinking about this year right now, and all the anticipation stuff that's happened in the beginning of the year is already kind of happening in the first 3 weeks. So it's going to be a good, hopefully it's going to be a good year. Start off a good year. So I wanted to show people what all that happened in 2021. Not by a timeline because, as y'all know, I stepped away from the so-called manosphere for 4 months. No, 5 months, and I left it all alone because I saw too much shit happening. A lot of different spaces was letting too many people get away with certain things. So I was like, okay, I'm done with this. So let me break this all down. Yeah. Gia. So, one, Jessica exposed many simps and show her power in a man-only space by being on panels for more than 300 hours, which men let her rant and talk down to men. So, I tried to calculate how many hours she was on people's panels. It was sometimes she was on panels and the terms of it when she made her tour, Game Changers panel, and I'm counting from the time Game Changer let her on the panels. When she was talking about Todd City and other people's spaces, Mr. Fantastic let her on panels. She was on panels for a very long time. And what I learned was when the men that has her back are not in the space or not making lives, she disappears. So I don't want to throw Aegon under the bus because Aegon is, he should been a logical brother. But the things he said on stream, especially some of the guys that he let on the panel, it seemed like they was kind of like talking about the opposite side, but they was actually talking about each other. So Aegon got into it with Marco, because Marco was wondering why Aegon is out here asking for 1,000 numbers, and he was just, and he said something, I forgot what it was, and Marco can show the women he got. He don't have no problem getting a whole bunch of numbers. He's in a good place in Colombia, and I think Aegon took offense to it, like, oh, you trying to big boy me and blah 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 blah. So they had a falling out, and they had a falling out, and basically after that, what you call it didn't show up at all. He didn't come to the Black Manosphere ever. And I think that was probably Marco's last straw with the Manosphere, because it's like these dudes all they want to do is talk about old women. And pretty much he has a point. He has his own standard to live by, to not talk about quote unquote old hoes. And he came in with his own regulations and rules on how he deal with people or deal with women. But for some reason, he still wanted to be in the space because he thought he can salvage some of this stuff. Found out he couldn't. So he's seen just how, some of the people let Jessica X spout her shit, and he bounced. Rightfully so. So none of the sympathizers for Jessica X is actually, y'all notice none of the guys that she can use are making live streams no more. Mr. Fantastic is her main protector. He's on a ship for 5 months. Aegon isn't making a stream. I don't know what for, but he's not making a stream. He must be busy, or he must don't want the heat that comes with letting Jessica X talk her shit for the men on his panels. So she's not gonna come back until she finds somebody. She's gonna find somebody that she can use and gain power on their panels. She can't do that with MOT. She can't do that with the majority of people who making lives because she already burned her bridges. See, that's what happens when you burn your bridges with a lot of people. She burned her bridges with DJ Kuda. She burned her bridges with Game Changer. She did a lot of burning bridges, and she stuck on certain people she thought had real power. And after they all left, like Mr. Fantastic and O'Shea or what you call it, Aegon, they don't make no streams like that, and pretty much she's stuck not saying anything. She needs titles. She needs to milk the manosphere for money. And I told everybody about this stuff. You know, ex Jessica Ann's fangirl, ex Jessica Ann's Jessica X fanboy Jerome Whiteside. You know, him going at the manosphere and trying to get milk as much money as from these black women as much as possible. And all he, you know, I watched this dude in panels on chats and stuff, talking shit about the same women he protecting. But hey, so Jessica X kind of exposed herself, but exposed to many guys that are not in the manosphere no more because she's not in the manosphere. I have seen so many new cat simp guys who shuffled over to Aegon's stream because Jessica X is there. And these guys on panels just saying some egregious shit. And it was like, hey man, I like this. I like Aegon. But it was like, man, you kind of making the same mistake DJ Kuda did. So I was like, okay, I can't listen to this no more. I can't deal with Jessica X on the panels and stuff. So I was like, okay, you know, after Marco going, and mind you, Marco is still on here, but he doesn't get a lot of traction because a lot of people don't like seeing dudes that really do get women show the women off. A lot of guys want this magical shit, right? So, number 2, Brian Salon started talking down to Passport Bros and SYSBM. So, back in 2021, somebody sent me a video of Brian Salon talking about guys going overseas and guys being SYSBM. And then he exposed himself for being a pro-black. Because now it shows that this dude lost faith when he couldn't get black women. He lost entirely faith when he lost the ability to get with black women. He stayed with black women and he gave up. So, in 2021, I don't think it was in 2020, he goes and say, you dumb niggas want to destroy your lineage and destroy your race or destroy what you got. You know, I want to have people who look like me. I want to have kids who look like me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? Why is a guy who says he had Marlboro life worrying about other niggas' penis and where it going at? So I kind of caught on to that and I was like, okay, good, fine. I'm going to put a pin in this dude. So when we turned around, he started talking egregious shit about SYSBM and Passport Bros. When that's not even a good move because you put a site up for men to get their own opinions out on Black Avengers TV. But it's not a good marketing thing to sit back and talk shit about most of the brothers that are in your space, on your website, And somebody told me behind the scenes that a lot of, some people at SYSBM, a lot kind of like got off that site because it was like, whoa, 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 why are you talking about us when we was the ones supporting you a lot? And it was, and it's just like the Sean James shit. Sean James didn't understand his audience, and soon as he burnt his bridges, now he's in the lower tiers of nothing. Nobody really listen to Sean James like that. In all seriousness, nobody does. So I looked at it, and I look at the numbers that what's his name pulled, and his numbers went all the way down. I mean, he's trying all these different series and the topsies and all this other stuff. But the fact is, once you start talking shit about Passport Bros and calling them passport pussy for play and talking about goofies and SYSBM, but the fact is, a lot of guys in SYSBM are married or they have girlfriends, and they're not running into the problem with Jay Black did. Jay Black had mental issues because he was too long in this market, just like a Brian Solange. And it was like, you want people to make you rich off of them selling you dials. You're doing the same shit that Turflanging Monkey did. And Turflanging Monkey, and it didn't, his so-called dial business, it didn't really, like, how can I put it? It didn't really rise up because the fact is, there's tons of people who was like, okay, I think he's trying to use this too. Kind of like when people found out how kind of racist Sandman was and how he was more to his race of white men getting overseas doing that. And then you see his videos contradicting the shit that he said. And then he want to, when black guys want to go to Japan, it's a problem. When white guys want to go to Japan, it's not a problem no more. And then you see people in his comment section kind of actually not borderline, they right out racist. Yeah, oh yeah, man, yeah, white men could go overseas. No, black men going overseas, man, this is a fun time. Oh, ilk. And somebody called them out like, ill what? You like, oh, so white men could only ones to sleep with other races of women, but black men can't? And they're like, oh, we got a racist here. They're like, oh, this is what y'all in. And that's the real incels. The real incels most incels don't really, quote unquote, the real incels don't see their advantages and where they can fit in. If you're a white man, you can literally go to another country and get rid of anything because people think you're better than every other race, even people above your own. But a lot of black men are telling a lot of other black men that the mysterious of being a black, and people are not buying the shit that they see on TV. They want to find out. And all the good black men are giving good promotion to the men who gonna come over there. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, all the women are overseas. Look, man, I saw that video and somebody sent me the video, and he sounds just like a game dude. He sound like a game dude. He sound like a pro-black, all mixed into one. If you played his video next to Sub-Zero video, they sound just about the same. If you play his video against anti-SYSBM and anti-Passport Bros, his videos sound the same. I mean, just like how disappointed I was when King Sigma said this kind of stuff he said on Ty City stream. Oh, you making the internet better so you don't get pussy. It's like, you must don't understand that a guy like Heavily Controller was flipping through the women. He was hanging out with a P-star, Violent Meyer. He was hanging out with her, and he was clapping her cheeks. A lot of nerds get vagina because a lot of women are going into the gamer space because they're trying to get accepted as fast as possible. So they go straight to the nerds and act like they with a nerd. That's an old school thing, but it's like y'all dudes have this it's like, man, your mindset. The fact is that Brian Solange will only go on one side. I mean, he had a video of a 16-year-old girl getting burnt in another country, but then turn around 5 years later and say the women are all the same overseas. He don't have no personal data. He don't talk to a lot of people because he do this Marlboro Man shit. So pretty much you can't test his data to anybody else. I showed you plenty of screenshots of my shit, and I showed you plenty of what's it called and websites that I put up, right? So he's going based off his own volitions of y'all better go get these sex dolls and stay away from all these women because I said so. And his viewership goes down. I remember on Black Avenger, he used to pull like 300 views or whatever. Like, if I go to his old videos, and I'm gonna try through. Let me check. So he barely gets 1,000 or whatever views, right? Some of his videos, he barely gets 100, and it's back and forth. And mind you, these the same guys. He's the same. Basically, people from Obsidian Camp goes look at Brian Solange. So it ain't really anything different. But let's see. Because remember, FS Avenger never actually lifted off the ground because of guys like Brian Solange. I think he the owner of it or whatever, or a pro owner of it. So he got 200, and it took 5 days for him to get 200 on his video. And pretty much nobody like or dislike, and there's no comments on it. So let's go up and see how many. Let's see. Because I'm trying to break it down to you that you can't make a site specifically for free speech and then turn around and talk shit about Passport Bros and calling them the equivalent of being a pedo. And then he said, oh yeah, man, I can tell if you went over there and you talked your game and you had fun with the women, but man, y'all over here paying, y'all trying to have an advantage. It's like, but you're taking advantage of men who can't get women and telling them to be alone and have sex with a sex style. When you didn't understand that not everybody in that. Some of his videos from 2 years ago got 5,000, 3,000, 2,000, 2,000, 1,000. Like, most of his videos, let's see, most of the videos that he had on here got a lot of they got a lot of views and a lot of support. And that's before he started talking about SYSBM and Passport Bro. When somebody seemed like they're trying to keep you in a certain position where they're trying to make you dislike women on a whole new level, where you're gonna just buy what they want you to buy. Like, if you look on this, even some of his videos on here don't get 1,000. They don't get nothing. Because people don't want to put in. I saw this traction in 2020 when he started talking trash about SYSBM and Passport Bros. As soon as he started talking about them, everybody was like, yo, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be around this type of shit. Because you talking two sides of your mouth. And people, once somebody sent me the stuff, I didn't try to keep up with them. But, you know, and his stuff started to slow down when he made certain comments. And then eventually he couldn't get back up to 1,000 on his own website. Because a lot of people seen the kind of stuff that he was saying. So he barely makes any kind of like headway on the own site that he runs. In the beginning, everybody knew it was a good idea. And then eventually when they start seeing him talk like that, everybody stopped. Even Mad Bus Driver stopped making videos on there. A lot of people stopped giving dude support on that thing, right? It's because you can't go around talking shit about men who don't want to be a part of this shit because they're saying the same shit you're saying, but you think that your way is better than theirs, and it's like, oh, I'm mad because I don't have a lot of followers. You don't see SYSBM sitting there kind of like going at people, calling them the equivalent of this and that and this and this and that. So he thinks that he's gonna get rich, kind of like Obsidian, off of blackmail misery, and he's gonna have his own little audience who will. He's gonna have an audience, a concentrated of audience that's gonna pay his way and give him all the money that he needs to get from the misery that men share all together. He think that it's gonna be this boom in sex dolls, because he said it in one of his videos. You know, the sex doll industry it's doing good. It's overseas. It's doing good. It's like, no, not really at all. Because the women understand what's going to happen. The feminist countries know what's going to happen. But what he don't know, because he don't got the experience with women overseas or women in other nationalities. They don't respect their own men, but they do respect men from other races. This is the reason why if an American black man goes overseas to one of these feminist countries, they treat him like gold. Just like if a man from another country in one of the feminist countries come over here, they treat him like gold. You know how many UK dudes that I seen come over here and clean up in the dating wise because his voice? Soon as they understand that you're an American and you speak American language, man, you're an aphrodisiac right away. If that's your prerogative, that you want to go down and take down as many women because they're programmed feminist ways, then you do it. Just be careful. Because remember, you're dealing with a feminist. You're just dealing with a less version of a feminist than over here. Because a lot of women overseas are actually dealing with the consequences of their men leaving them. See, the Brian Salons don't talk about, because he tried this shit with the Korean guys when he said they look feminine and stuff. But I'm like, if they so feminine, then why black women are going overseas? And then pretty much he kind of backtracked from that, because he's like, well, I'm like, if these dudes are so feminine, they wouldn't be knocking down so many women. You can't talk about other people's culture when you don't even understand the music or the background. And then, you know, he stopped talking about Korea and over there, but he tried to put it as a catalog. He's an ignorant dude who thinks he always right, and this is what he pushes away. Black Male Media First tried to get SYSBN to kick out MOT. It didn't work. He left YouTube and didn't make video in 6 months. So Black Male Media First wanted to have an audience, right? He wanted to have an audience, and he had a certain political matter that he wanted to get. He wanted to what you call it. So he felt MOT was an easy target. I don't know why would you think that, because Trey NDB probably convinced him, and then he went and started talking trash about MOT. So he tried the whole MOT's gonna take over your movement and try to make it a left wing, right leaning or whatever, conservative and blah 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 and all this other stuff. And then 6 months later, MOT's still consistent, and 6 months later, Black Male Media First ran out of content, and he left. Where you at? Where you at? I'm busy. I don't have a. I have a job now. No, you had a job when you was on here. Just say that you try to swing at somebody and you missed, and you exposed yourself. I thought SYSBM was a free thinking for black men. No, it wasn't for you to be using like that and making WhatsApp groups and all this other stuff. I support SYSBM. Am I SYSBM? That's only for people in SYSBM to do it. If I'm not qualified to be SYSBM, I'm still gonna give them support. If I'm not qualified for Passport Bros, I'm still gonna give them support. I'm not gonna sit there because I believe in the movement. I've been quote unquote SYSBM. Look, I'm a veteran on the opposite side, and I live in the hearts of Philly, and none of this crazy bullcrap touches me. Why? It's because I've been on the outside for a very long time, ever since my early teens. Before I even turned 18, I was already on the outs. Growing up, I was liking Latinas and Asian women. I don't have anybody that I actually wanted to date who was white or wanted to date who was black. I had experience before that, my teenage years, where I was dated some girls who was black. My best friend's sister that I told y'all about, that I can show you pictures of, now what she looks like now. And if people would, inbox her or whatever, she'd confirm it that we went out. So ain't no incel over here. My first kiss was from a overweight, pudgy fat girl on a dare when I was like 5 years old. There was another girl that tried to take my V card from me before I gave my V card to an Asian chick. She was a tomboy, but she was a thought. Cause that's why now she has a whole bunch of kids. She got like 8 kids now, and she's ugly, unattractive. There was times where in my before I turned into a teenager, or during my early teens or middle teens, yes. Because I wasn't learning. But when I started forming, like at 15 years old, that's when I was like, nah, I'm good. I like these women over here. I stay on this side. Ever since 15, I stayed on the side outside of black women. So I've been out of this shit for a very long time. I'm telling you my experience of dealing with them, not on an intimate level. Well, on an intimate level, my teen years. But I'm telling you how all the people that I know dealt with them. I can tell you 1,000 stories, and I can back it up with a whole bunch of profile pictures, and even give y'all the rank of me going so far is to make fake behind profiles, talk to these guys about myself, and then show you that I'm not lying, because I did this on Facebook. But that's too much work, and you got too many dumbass doxers in this fucking space. Now, Black Male Media Works swinged, and he missed. All his videos was about reacting to Kevin Samuels, protecting Kevin Samuels, and people seeing kind of dude he was, and he left. Because he want to come back after a while and then, show up and act like he's different. That's what a lot of people do in this space. Jay Speed, he destroyed Kuda's credibility and channel, and then he jumps on to Bernard Riley and talking trash and all this stuff. Sub-Zero talked about Kevin Samuels 2 years ago, and now he becomes just like Kevin Samuels. His talking points against SYSBM when he was talking about, a man who makes $60,000 shouldn't be with a black woman. He got to make $100,000. Do you know how problematic that shit sound? There's men out here at every single level who got wives, and they're making 40 grand or 30 grand. There's guys who stand in the Home Depot parking lots right now with their wife right there in the car, waiting for him to get a job. Are you serious? Are you serious? But you want to sit there and equate the women overseas and the women of other races are the same as the women, black women, they all the same. No, they're not. Because the men don't play that. So, more and more black men are being exposed as passport Ray Rays and starting to take over the passport movement and making all traveling black men look bad. So, I started to see more and more of these Passport Ray Rays and Passport Pookies pop up. I knew they exist, but I knew what it was when I started hearing a lot of people talking shit about passport men because a lot of them wanted to travel. And as soon as they traveled, they wanted to do it their way. And that's what you call it, let me give you an example, right? You see black men want money so they can be worse than white men. Cause all of the power dynamics that you see black men complain about, they'd be a lot worse if they had the position. See, if they had a position of white guys, which they do with some races of women, this is why they brag about it. You see it in the space all over. Oh yeah, man, you just mad because you don't get women. Blah blah blah. I got the skills. I got the sauce. Yeah, man, you need to do this and to do that. Why would you talk about you being a lower class and black men don't have no friends, but you doing the same exact thing that the other side doing to black men, and then you want to act like you're different? You're not. Now, Passport Pookies wanted to do what the so-called men that they don't think could get women. They wanted to try Colombian and Brazilian because they got tired of slamming the same women. They didn't have any type of competition. So they got bored. Like I said before in previous videos, that they get bored if they don't have somebody that they can talk down to. So they got mad and said, okay, I want to compete on another level in another country. I want to get women in other countries and shit on these dudes overseas. Then a lot of them found out that they can't get away with the kind of shit that they could get away with over here. They try to pay for sex and then not give money to the women. And then they end up getting their ass beat up or robbed. A lot of dudes, Brian Salage will try to use an anecdotal bullshit where he says, oh man, guys going overseas and getting robbed. You talking about shit that happened in 2020. White dudes are getting robbed in Colombia. What are you talking about? Same thing if you walk around and white guys been getting robbed by people in other countries for a long time because nobody likes their arrogance. Hawaii. I know somebody in Hawaii who told me about, hey man, white people don't have a lot of respect for other races and they end up getting their ass beat. In Dominican Republic, a lot of girls don't like having sex with the white guys. They just doing it because they getting paid. But a lot of them actually prefer to deal with black dudes because black dudes actually put in work when they're having sex with women all over. They're trying to do the work. And that's the simp mindset that a lot of guys got. White guys are in it for themselves. They in it to pound and pound and pay. Pound and pay. That's it. Black dudes want to pound and accomplish and conquer and think the woman is not going to ask for her money. Oh, I gave you this good penis. So I don't have to give you money. I'm going to give you something cheap. Dudes that I know who go overseas and they do this 1 month out the fucking whole entire year because they got vacation time and they work their ass off. They go overseas, they pay, and they come over for a month and they say they have no problems. But they see other dudes starting and having problems when women beating them up and all that, and the dudes in that country have to grip them up and be like, give me the money right now. A lot of guys who had problems, rest in peace, Timothy Reed, they come over there thinking that they can do what they do in American setting. Just like they had black dudes who got arrested in the overseas or something like that. I think, and the story never came out. Or a story where dudes got set up. It's how black men come off. And these people overseas have an actual more knowledge about people than people over here. They don't have this kind of set off mentality where they think they know everything. They see it all the time. They don't have a lot of distractions in their mind. They don't have a lot of distractions. A lot of them don't even have the kind of TV shows we have. In Brazil, Items cost a lot of money, just like in the UK and in Canada. The standard of living in Canada is high as shit because of their healthcare system, and people don't never want to talk about that. That's the reason why it's so high. The cost of living is so high because the healthcare system puts a lot of strain on the taxes. So they giving all that stuff away, but they making their stuff go up. That's why gamers overseas from UK, Australia, Canada, they like free shit. Because they're paying $80, almost $90 for video games. They know what it's like to struggle. This is why the so-called poor countries or the other countries, how can you sit here and say we struggling, but you don't keep no values? But the people who come from poor countries like Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Brazil, they come over here with their values intact. They get their money up and take advantage of the capitalist system, and then they go back to their country and fill their family bellies up with the kind of work they come over here, and they got a stream of revenue over here without staying here. You know how many women that I know said they came over here for 2 years and they left because they didn't like the way the men are, and they didn't like the way how weak the men is? Or they like, oh, the women are so mad, I can't make friends over here because they're saying all this crazy stuff. They stay along with each other. You know how many women that I found, you know how many women that came over here fresh off the boat and they were so nice and genuine, but some Puerto Rican or Dominican woman who've been living over here for years got into their ear and messed up their relationship with their man, and then they finally figured out that woman should be kicked out. I know a chick who got disowned by her family because she dated a black dude. And when the family knew how wrong they was, she didn't want nothing to do with him because she's still with the black dude. This is a girl who was raised up to be a wife, a good partner to a man. But let a Brian Solange or somebody else tell you women are the same. No, this dude is a pookie who wanted a second chance with a girl, and he got a second chance with the right chick who's Dominican, and he stayed with her, and they still married. While the Dominican girl who disowned her, all of them divorced in the American system, and they just got here. And it's not about that. It's because their mom, their bitter mom, was keeping them away from all the other good men and try to keep their daughters within Dominican culture. And a lot of them turn out to be single moms. And a lot of other women, you know, I seen the same women try to go to black guys and date them because now their mom was like, oh shit, we can get a black guy. And they're like, no, I'm not feeling this because I don't take care of other people's kids. It's something, a lot of things went wrong with them, but you have to look at it precisely. It's a percentage. But passport pookies really did want to live the experience overseas. They got to live the experience overseas, and they want to stay over there because they don't like the women over here. But all the while, they want to sit here and cause discernment among passport people. Most classes of women in the the class of women in 2016 to 2019 have washed out of a lot of spaces. They have been exposed as fake and now only on YouTube channels about relationship talk and drama channels. Raining Woman used to be in all the chats saying she support black men. Naima used to be in everybody chats, have everybody saying she support black men. Jessica X used to be up in here talking all that crap, but she wasn't from 2016. All the people that Obsidian thought he was gonna use, what's her name, Ren, the one that used to be part of the whole what's that called? What's that side called? You know, the Task side. All the females that was all a part of Task, and they all broke up. All the women who was in his space talking, all, you know, Kendra D and all these other women that was in this space from 2016 to 19 was up there in chats talking about, yeah man, I support black men, I give black men this, and black men are cool and blah blah blah, and I think black men should be happy and blah blah blah. They all washed out of the space, but you will see them on drama channel and relationship channels and roasting sector. You know, a dumb piece of crap like Reg the Bad Guy, you know, he let women have wrenches, and they destroyed his channel. That's why people don't mess with him like that. Okay. Ramil Amir left the Black Manosphere because he had beef with O'Shea and sold his channel to a woman. Same man who started the Miko Worldwide mess and the Miko Worldwide mess and something he didn't fix. He showed who he was. He showed he was here for himself and not for what he said. Okay. So Ramil Amir started a rumor about Miko Worldwide, saying that he had a SYSBM passport bro tell him about Miko Worldwide. That was somebody who had beef with Miko Worldwide. It turned out the guy that started all this was GAY himself. He lived in the Dominican Republic. He's a passport pookie. And everybody flipped out that they took the side of the GAY black passport guy and not Miko Worldwide. So Ramil Amir didn't fix it. He didn't care about fixing it. And he just smoothed off. And everybody let him stay in the space and not call him out about Miko Worldwide. Same thing with Reg the Bad Guy. Same thing with Super Sly. Same thing with all these other people that made the videos. They didn't correct it. Just like Ryan Solange, just like all these other people. When new information comes out, they don't change anything. They stay with the same shit and then they start talking their shit from their point of view. This is why a lot of them don't go back and forth with guys. This is why a lot of them, like, shout out to MOT. This is why they can't they can't debate their points at all. They can't debate their points. They can only stay on their platforms and then do that. I've been debating my points for decades now. I don't need to do it in this generation at all. And if somebody asked me to debate, I probably had to get my technical know-hows how to, do all this stuff and make live streams on YouTube, and then I'll be like blah 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 blah, and that's it. But other than that, I don't think I'm doing that anytime soon, because I like to be prepared. But Ramil Amir left because he couldn't get his way. He left because he seen that all the people he aligned with, just like he did the same thing Jessica X did. Everybody he aligned with were all full of shit, just like him. He got caught. He couldn't stand on his own. He left. Because the people who came on his panels were all the same type of dude who hanged out with Jessica X Spaces. From Mr. Fantastic to a whole bunch of other people who was in the space who were simps. They was in other people's chat. The Black Manosphere is filled with 90% simps, game dudes, and then guys who only want to get black men to be slaves to black women and their kids with thugs. It's many attacks on SYSBM and Real Passport left and right, sharing the same insults. Also, some of the anti-women men want to keep black men here to be just like them or wait until black women change. So I put that in more my words instead of me writing down because I was writing fast. So the Black Manosphere is 90% filled up with a bunch of people who regurgitate the same shit over and over again. You can't get women, blah blah blah. Edward Anderson, who will flip out when somebody play a clip of him saying some shit, opposite shit, talking about incels and all this other stuff. Then he want to say, "Oh, why you talking like that?" He likes to reset. This is the guy who can't talk. Zero already destroyed Edward Anderson's points last year when he was on a panel with him. And people still listen to Edward Anderson. Just like how it was a dude in MOT chat last night. And he said that the only way educated lames can get women, in his mind, if they pay. But you are on a panel, you're in the chat with an MOT who don't believe in that educated lane language, and you're sitting here talking about Edward Anderson when you was in his chat. That's the back and forth shit that I don't like. If you are in somebody's chat, then keep your personality. If you there to argue a point, and nobody gets through or whatever, then I understand. You taking up time and you want to be participating, I understand. I stopped. I used to be in 3 people, 4 people chat, DJ Kuda chat, Game Changer chat, Reg the Bad Guy chat, and MOC chat. Nobody else. I think I never been in anybody else's chat. I think so. 4 people chat in on this long period of time. 4. I stopped going to Game Changer because I seen he was a big major simp, and he's all this pick me bullshit and co-ed manosphere, and he had never learned. There's gonna be so many women that burn him. Melanie probably gonna be the next one who gonna burn him. Jessica X burned him. Cocaine Kells burned him. Neon Eyes burned him. Like I'm not gonna be around that, and I hope people don't be around that when he gets thrown under the bus by another chick that he picks. And he's also like the relationship talk because he don't want to change either. Because he think his penis is going to change women's minds or whatever, man. So, Kuda, he let old dudes come in and mess up his vibe. Now, the pimps fighting each other and all that. Reg the Bad Guy, I was in his chat when he had Raining Woman and a simp. I forgot what simp he had. C Over, who Man of Tomorrow checked and never C Over never came back to the Black Manosphere after Man of Tomorrow checked him, and I think that was back in 2018. He was in the chat blocking people, and MOT's chat. That's it. But a lot of these dudes come into space because a girl saying something. A lot of these people want the same stuff, and then the new guys come into space, and MOT made another point, is that they're older men. They're not younger men. They're not the Z's, and they're not the Z's. They're not the early millenniums. Or no, the later millenniums and the Z's. Most of the Z's are not here like that. And people who actually do listen to me who's young, I just give them the ability to have high morale. That's mainly what I'm here for, is to give you experience and to keep your morale up while you're having to deal with people in the real world. Because getting your shit together, as MOT said, it's not going to be easy. It ain't going to be easy because you have to put in so much work. It's not going to be easy because people are going to keep trying to get in your way. And they're going to see you try to do something. They're either going to try to harm you. They're going to get jealous of you because you're not attached to a female. You're going to hear insults. They're going to be trying to tell you what to do. They're going to be trying to get close to you. They're going to try to do anything they can to make themselves feel better above you. And when you're not a part of their crowd, they think that you're an easy target. This is why you have to keep your morale up, keep your focus, and make sure that you have another plan to get somewhere else, because there's plenty of times where I had to deal with co-workers talking shit, telling me that, you need to get a wife, or, you don't seem like you like women and you got to go over here. Like, okay, I had to go to a man only field. And then I had problems with them when I was in welding school. When I was in trade school for welding. There were so many ex-cons and shit in there, and then there was all of these dudes talking shit. It was a chick in there. It was 3 chicks in there. A fucking stud in there who kept staring at me. I don't know why. And there was another 2 women in there. It was another woman, a chick with glasses, who had other dudes take her test, her welding test for her, and she passed the test, which she didn't do on her own. This is why she stayed a lot longer, so she know how to do the passovers. And when they changed how to do the passovers, she failed that test because she had to do it again. And then the dudes helped her. It was so many dudes around that chick. And I think she was smashing one of these dudes. Or probably like she got passed around. So it was a lot of, it was only like 3 or 4 or 5 guys in there that was in that welding program that would never went to jail. Me, this black shirt dude, the dude with glasses, brown skinned dude with glasses. He was a dude. His dad sent him there. The other guy, he had a Latino girlfriend. And I think he failed a couple tests and he wanted to give up. And his girlfriend was consoling him. She was a Latina. A white dude who I became friends with, who came there because his dad pushed him into this, and he didn't like the program because how they was doing it. And me, who wanted to get my life together. It's 5 guys in there who never went to jail and none of that. Everybody else was jail dudes or trying to get in there to get away from jail or get away from the street. They used to be street dudes, and everybody's story. I remember that's how I know that it was only 5 of us, because we was in the auditorium and we all told our stories. And while we came here, and there's only 5 dudes in there that was all never had no jail record, none of this other stuff. They just wanted to change their lives. The people on the top, I'm not gonna get all of it. As I said, the school was a sham. That's what it was. Because if you see the program, what it is now, half of the stuff that when I was going there changed, and the review said they still unorganized. So the Black Manosphere is just filled up with a whole bunch of dudes that want shit to never change, and they want to have the same conversation over and over again. Game Changer is stuck on thinking women in society can be trusted, and didn't learn from his time being turned on by many women he said who thought was on men's side. So Game Changer, not to come at him, will think that he will put his thought into women. Oh, we need to go Nika Michelle and all these other women, these pick-me's and all this other stuff, and give women the panel and talk about, submission and all this other stuff. And then he gets involved with a chick. Not involved, but a chick gets close to him, and then she turns on him. So I'm like, why a guy who had all this drama in 2021 would actually do it again with Melody, because you think that these women are on your side? Eventually they will turn on you. I mean, he didn't learn from C Boogie shit when C Boogie talked about him and all this other stuff and changed on him and everything else. That's why I was like, okay, sure. Marco left most of the Black Manosphere alone because he's seen how they just don't want to leave old women alone and never learn from their bad experience with women, and want to repeat the same mistakes they made before. He's the only real player in the Black Manosphere who has good looking women, unlike all the fake players talking about women. So you can't get a Sub-Zero, all these guys talking about they good with women to show they women, because they know the women that you have to, when you have a girlfriend or a wife, I'm going to tell you the truth. There has to be some type of hating on your wife, or for some other way, you don't have a good looking system, especially if you're bragging. And I'm talking about specifically if you're bragging about you get better looking women, right? If you get so-called women, your women better be the men that can't get women better be attracted to the women you have. If they're not, you're a failure, and you shouldn't be saying how you get more women than the men that don't get women. So there are guys like Marco who can show all the women that are attractive, even people across the board. He has a number of women, and everybody wants to talk to them. And everybody likes them. Even, Mr. Fantastic jumped on that bandwagon, because he brung them in. And Marco showed all his girls, and he was like, you can live like me if you just don't be a part of this shit. And he looked at it as like, okay, my last straw is with these black men right here. Aegon would have still be in the Matrix, even though he's got a passport and stuff. And he's like, okay, I'm out of here. And he bounced. He still has videos somewhere here, but he don't get a lot of views. He barely get any views. Why? Because the Black Manosphere don't like seeing real players get women. That shows them that they can get women. It's a lot of double agents who talk shit on both sides to see see the looks on many people's chats and comments and who is who and what they say about the other side. So there's a lot of people who will be in one chat talking shit like a dude that I called out last night on MOC's chat, where he was talking about the only way that educated lames could get women is if they pay him. So there's a lot of guys who don't really understand that the quote unquote educated lames will fit right into another race, because we don't have perfect synchronicity with each other like that. We're not really synced with each other like that. Even in one race, there's a lot of women in Indian culture, Middle Eastern culture, Latina culture, the South American culture, every other culture that don't really sync up with their men. But they would rather take another man who has a new idea but the same concept as their men, and they will go under that guy. So I've seen it so many times where these men who say shit like, oh, educated ladies only could get women, they can't genuinely think that a man who doesn't get women in black sectors and doesn't get women over here will ever get a woman. I've seen it so many times in traveling group like Charles Tyler, where a guy that nobody thinks should get a woman, they go and try to talk to their girl. You know how many guys that I know who got a woman from another culture or foreign, where he got a whole bunch of his own friends trying to talk to his girl and say, you need to leave that guy alone, he's a weirdo, he's this and that. This is why I say, even the guys in the SYSBM that I talked to who had women, they told me a lot about how dudes will go and try to talk to their wife and whip out their dicks, whip out their sausage and sit back and say, yo, I got a bigger penis than him, I can make you moan and groan, and end up getting his ass whipped. Or they'll go around talking shit, talking about I can replace him, I'm a better guy than him, and all this other stuff. It's all about them. It's all about their reality, their reality being right. Because they don't want to be wrong. They don't think that a woman can be attracted to a nerd without any money and all that. And I heard somebody, a dude called, somebody, I think Grinch, who used to be a part of the Black Order or whatever, and a Dangerous Mind said to him saying something like, I think he said it like this: if you talking about a structural marriage, then you should take an ugly woman that's not good looking and build with her. But one thing that you don't understand with that is that the women can actually turn around and cheat on that guy. I've seen it all too many times. If you're going to go for a woman, you might as well go with what you want instead of what you so-called need, because the fact is, if you make a list of shit that you want out of this so-called woman and she do everything she wants, then you can take the look stick. I will literally admit that, hey, you will have to take a hit when it comes down to the looks, but you will have to tell her to enhance her looks for you only. Whereas makeup or whatever she needs to do, even hair extensions, hey, you have to do that for you to look 10 times better, for me to be around you. You could do this once a month, 2 months. You could do this in the house. Don't do it outside. You look ugly for everybody else, but you look like a diamond for me. I can get that. Or it's something going on. But if you telling somebody to take a dirt ugly looking chick and try to build something with that, no. Single mom, no. So there's a lot of guys on the opposite side, even on the same side, who said, well, you need to get this and this and this and that. No. If you are talking about family relationships, you have to take it. But there's a lot of men who understand overseas stuff, and they would rather go overseas and pick the right woman. I have not met a ugly looking woman overseas who tried to talk to me. I wish I could show you the women that I used to talk to overseas. I wish I could show you the women. I'm talking about me and them back and forth. I showed y'all a couple of them that I talked to. I never met an ugly looking chick that was ugly to me that I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to settle down with her. Asian, Latina, never. So, yeah, that's about it, man. All the stuff that happened in 2021 with a little bit of commentary. it's a lot of stuff that happened in 2021, and I hope I'm gonna try my best to keep up with stuff that happened in 2022.